Hey everyone, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. I hope you're having a good week. Today I've got an exclusive hand-picked magic review for you guys. I'm going to be taking a look at Volume 1 of Elixir magazine. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the only place you're going to see a review on this magic magazine. Now this was published by Mike Helmer. And I think you could still pick this up from him if you want. I will leave his email in the description above. You can email him. I was lucky enough to pick up the last printing of this past fall. He may still have some of these available that you can get. I don't exactly remember how much I paid for it, but you can send him an email and find out and see if you can still get this. So this magazine is very reminiscent of like Labyrinth magazine in that it was not time sensitive. He spent years amassing the effects that he put in this magazine. And what you're gonna get is you're gonna get 4 issues. Each issue has to do with a season. So this is like summer, then you can get fall, winter and spring. All of this is mostly just card magic. I think there's only one effect that has to do with coins. You're also going to get one sheet which has a table of contents and then a list of the contributors on the back. Now I will tell you guys that this is a very impressive list of contributors for this magazine. You've got names such as Bill Goodwin, Chris Mayhew, Gary Plants, John Rockerbomber, Matthew Beach, Mika Pelkonen, Ryan Plunkett, Stephen Hobbs, Stephen Beam. I mean, these are all very famous magicians. In fact, I even sent an email message out to Mr. Helmer asking him how he managed to get these people to contribute to his magazine. I was really impressed by this lineup. The magazine has about 3 or 4 effects in each issue. There's an editorial section at the end, which is kind of nice because he gives you his own thoughts about what he went through putting this together, and then different little things about the effects. And then on the very back of each one, which is really nice, there's a section there on credits and acknowledgments where he basically credits all the different moves, what inspired the different effects and stuff like that. And of course, there's things there you can track down if you're really interested in, if you really like one of the effects, you can track down other information about it. So it's really nice in that way. And you can see this took a lot of time to put together. One of the issues is actually dedicated to one magician. Like this issue, the fall issue is called a Michael Crass issue, and this is very reminiscent of like Labyrinth magazine, where they'll have an issue that's dedicated to just one magician. So all the effects in this one are just Michael Crass effects, which I'm not really a big fan of Michael Crass, but the idea is a really good idea at the very least. So like I said before, you're gonna find magic in here that ranges from absolute beginner to advanced magic. Everything from totally impromptu to gimmicks that you have to construct yourself. Not difficult, nothing like that. And so there's a little bit of everything in here, I think, for people. And like what I always tell people is that if you can get at least 1 or 2 good effects out of each one of these issues, then it's well worth what you paid for it. And I'm going to go through these very quickly with you just to give you an idea of the effects that I really like, because I've had this for the past couple of months. I've spent almost 3 months now going through this and carefully practicing and performing these effects for people in the real world. And I can tell you that I've gotten some really good reactions. And I didn't want to make this review until I could actually really tell you honestly what I really think about the effects and using them in the real world. But that takes time. You see, you can't just get something in the mail, open it up and just do a review. You actually have to road test this stuff, and all that takes time. I don't think people realize that. You know, so I wouldn't trust those magic reviews of people that just are reviewing crap they just opened up yesterday. In any event, let's go over the first issue here, Summer. So the first issue here had 4 effects, and I liked 3 out of the 4. I thought 3 out of the 4 were really good. The first one was my favorite one in here, and this was called Hands Off Reverse by John Rockerbomber and Hideo Kato. And basically the effect is extremely simple. The performer takes a pack of cards that can be shuffled impromptu. They're going to cut the deck. They're going to look at the card they cut to. They're going to put it back in the pack reversed and then put the pack back in the box. And all of this behind their back where you're not going to see anything, yet you can tell them the card they looked at and they can take the cards out of the box and they can see it's the only one that's reversed in the deck. So it's extremely impressive, and I will tell you, it's super beginner level, extremely easy to perform, yet gets great reactions. My favorite effect from this issue. The second effect in here is called the fuck it ace interlude, which is kind of a funny one by Ryan Plunkett. In here, it's a great way of introducing the 4 aces. It's an effect where you take out the 4 aces, yet you apparently only need 1, so you return 3 back to the pack. And then in a series of moves, you keep turning over the ace, and it keeps turning into more aces. So you're holding 1 ace, but you turn it over, now you've got 2 aces in your hand. Then you turn those over, and you've got 3 aces in your hand. And you turn those over, and now you've got 4 aces in your hand. So it's a good way, it's a good little effect if you're planning on doing any kind of 4-ace trick. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very easy to perform too. Not difficult at all. Great effect. And then finally, the other effect I really liked in this issue was Candy by Chris Mayhew, which he did put this out as a standalone effect. Candy, which I think he put it out with Vanishing Ink. You could have bought it there. He even put out a revised version of it. It's kind of nice. This is a card at any number effect of Chris Mayhew's. It's very well known, very popular. Anyone who does card magic probably already purchased it. They already know the effect well. I like the idea at least of having it in written form here, where I could refer to it in written form. So it's a good effect. It's not bad at all. So that's Summer. Definitely, I'll tell you guys that was great. 3 out of 4 effects that I would use myself makes that issue definitely worth having. The Michael Crass issue is the only issue I didn't like, because honestly, I don't like any of Michael Crass's effects. There was a Michael Crass effect I purchased once. It was called Destiny, and basically that was just like the fill deck. But here in this issue, there's like 3 effects. I really didn't like any of them. So this was like, for me, I really just didn't like this issue of the magazine, because I would never use any of this material in here. The move he goes over here, the Crass change, is a very knacky move. I don't think it's anything I would ever really use, but some people may like it. Again, so that's just one issue that I personally just wouldn't use anything from that. The winter edition here, this one had a whole bunch of effects, and it had some really good ones in here that I definitely liked a lot. I'm just going to touch on the ones that I really liked a lot. I will tell you guys, there was 3 in here that I liked a lot. There was Mentally Count on It by Gary Plants, and this was his variation of a Paul Cummins effect, which was called Counting on It. And here, what's interesting is that the principle that he's using is actually pretty popular nowadays, because I saw Ollie Mealing put out an effect that used the same principle as this Mentally Count on It. So it is something that's being used a lot more today. So I thought that was pretty good. Stephen Hobbs put here a false swing cut dribble control, which I probably wouldn't use that. So that one really, I didn't think it was that great. Peter Pelican put in a variation aces 2 effect here. It's highly gimmicked, like most of Peter Pelican's effects. Some people may like that. Personally, I don't know if I'd really use it myself. Stephen Beam put in a eliminate effect in here. I thought it was decent. Definitely something you may use. It's a good effect where it's got a really interesting, different type of card force. You may like that a lot. Something worth checking out in here. And my favorite thing in this issue was John Rockerbomber put in here a sandwich drop slight. Awesome, awesome. This was a very slick way of switching out a card that is sandwiched between 2 face-up cards. I thought that was really good, really, really good. Something that I'll use. So out of this issue, I think that's the best effect, and if you learn that sandwich drop slight, you'll use it immediately in your Magic. Don't let that pass you by. Definitely worth it. I fooled so many people already with that. And the funny thing is, because it's just a slight, you can incorporate it into other effects you already use, other type of sandwich effects you use and stuff like that. And that's what I've done with it. And it's great. It's just like another tool for your toolbox. The last issue of Volume 1 is called a sandwich issue. And it's kind of nice because all the effects in here are all just sandwich effects. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 effects in here. I didn't know if it was 4 or 5. Yeah, there's 5 effects in here, 5 sandwich effects in here, and I really like 3 of them a lot. The first one is called Two Step by Bill Goodwin, and that effect was great. That's an effect for 3 spectators where you have 3 spectators make a selection. You put 2 face-up queens in the pack, and then the 2 face-up queens magically move and find 2 of the selections, and then in the next moment they come back together and find the 3rd selection. It's great. I will tell you, it's kind of advanced card magic. It's not easy, but I think the fact of you spreading out the cards, you know, the larger movement of moving your hands to spread out the cards kind of hides the sleights. You have to be able to do a cover pass. So if that's something that you're not really comfortable with or familiar with, then that may be a problem. But I'm going to tell you guys, you should be able to do a top card cover pass. If you can't, then you should probably learn that, because it's definitely something that's very useful. So I thought that was really good. Mika Pelkonen put in here Auto Sandwich. Auto Sandwich, I think a lot of people will like a lot because it's a sandwich effect that uses the advertisement cards that come with your pack of cards. So all those pack of cards you open up that have those advertisement cards that you throw in the trash, well, here's an effect you could use those for. And the reason it's called Auto Sandwich is because literally it's so simple to do. There's no moves and it's absolutely simple. What's interesting is that effect, Auto Sandwich, you can actually find that in his London lecture notes too. It's not mentioned here, but he put out some lecture notes. I think it was 2017 London lecture notes. Mika Pelkonen put those out. And I think you can find the exact effect there if you're interested in that. I think that probably will be the effect that a lot of people will like. That probably will be the effect a lot of people would like the best out of this issue, just because it's totally hands-off and it looks totally impossible. And it uses those advertisement cards that most people would just throw away anyway. The other effect in this issue that I really liked a lot was called Everything But Olives. And I thought that was just genius. That effect, Everything But Olives, the reason why I liked this so much was because you clearly take 2 mates, like two red queens, and you put them there, and then you have a selection made, and then you show that now there's a card in between there face down, and you very cleanly can show that that is their selection. It's like the impossible translocation. It's totally impossible. And I love it. I just like the little finesses that are in it because it looks really, really clever. I'll tell you, lay people are blown away by this effect. It's extremely easy to perform, you'll be amazed at the reactions you get from people. So for me personally, that's my favorite effect in this issue. And then finally in this issue, I'll tell you guys, there's the Third Hand Sandwich by Matthew Beach, which is a very good sandwich effect that it looks incredibly impossible, yet so easy to perform too. All right, I'm going to do a quick demo here of the Third Hand Sandwich by Matthew Beach, and you can find this in Elixir magazine. I just want to show you guys how easy this is to perform. This gets really good reactions. So what you do is this. You're going to introduce the 2 queens, and it's very important that they realize that there's nothing in between these 2 queens, okay? That's key, right? There's nothing in between there. You can have them shuffle up these cards as much as they like, and then you have them make a selection, whichever way that you like. I mean, whatever way that you want to have them make a selection, it's up to you, you know, whatever way you want. Anyway, you have them make a selection. In this case, maybe they're going to think of this card, this queen right here, this. We're going to leave it out like that, and you just have them push it back into the middle. There's obviously no control. So the black queen is our target here. And what we're going to do is this. We're going to riffle down here, maybe about, I don't know, halfway or so. And what we're going to do is we're going to just stick our 2 red queens in there. And here you can deal down, show that there's clearly nothing in between these 2 red queens. In fact, what we'll do is this. We'll leave those there. We'll leave this one on the top. So you got 1 on the bottom, we got 1 on the top, and the idea is that these 2 red queens, remember we got 1 here, we got 1 on the bottom, are going to try to catch that black queen. So you just grab onto them like this, and all we're going to do is just give this a little pull, just like that. You manage to catch the other queen, the black queen in between the red queens, and then you can just hand this out to them. You got your 2 red queens, and that's it. That's the effect. And it's really easy to perform, as you could see, yet it gets really good reactions because it looks crazy impossible. Although that one is not my favorite one. My favorite one is Everything But Olives, just because it just is incredible, incredible. In fact, I would demo that to show it to you guys, although I don't want to give away anything, so I'm just not going to mess with that. If you're interested, you can just get the magazine and learn it on your own. You will not be disappointed. It's definitely worth it. I would highly recommend this magazine to you guys. Things that I think could have been improved, just so that way you guys know that I don't think that this is just 100% perfect, because the things I'm going to tell you I didn't like about the magazine is this. I did not like the Michael Crass issue at all. I thought all the effects in here were they were not practical. I didn't like any of these the 4 effects that are in here. I would not perform any of these. I just was not impressed with this issue at all. The Michael Crass issue I didn't like at all. And the other thing I could tell you guys I think could have been improved a lot was there's an effect in the Sandwich issue, which is called Take 5 by Alan Hagen. And this issue, the effect is fine, but there's a couple of moves in here that are not explained. Instead, they just give you references of where you can go and find them. And I can get those, but I think that, like, for instance, it tells you here you have to do the Jinx change, and you can find that in the Jinx. And I have the Jinx magazine, but the fact of the matter is that most people don't have the Jinx magazine because that's not something that's readily available to people. So I think that it could have been improved by actually putting in either alternative moves that you could do or describe the move that you need to do for it. So that's what I think could have been improved. Overall, I would rate the magazine as 4 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend this to you guys. And if you have any questions about it, please feel free to leave me a comment below. As always, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I hope that you've enjoyed my review on Elixir Magazine Volume 1. That is all for now. I will see you guys on the next review.